Hey guys, welcome back. So today we have a Steam Deck. This guy, it's pretty much in working condition overall. Uh, I've had a little bit of chance to play with it. So what this thing is doing is it will power on, it will charge, but the issue is the audio, and it doesn't like to wake from sleep. Once you put it to sleep, it's got this thing where sometimes you have to hard reset the system in order for it to come back on. So let's get it tested. I'll show you what it's doing so you can see for yourself, and we'll go from there and try to figure out what it is that we're going to do with this guy. Let's plug it in with our USB meter, and it powers on. Sound like we heard the little chime. So we're drawing about half an amp. Can you guys see it? There it is. I hear the fan kicking in. Hear it. So I think maybe the battery was a little dead. Okay, we're up to 1.7 amps. So I think our battery kind of went out on us. We'll let it charge for a minute.
2 hours later.
Okay, and here we are. So it might not be the easiest thing to do to kind of show you guys what's going on, especially when it comes to the speakers. So the left-hand speaker works, but it fades in and out, and sometimes it's got a little bit of a crackle to it. The right-hand speaker doesn't work at all. So let me see if I can get my microphone down here, kind of let you hear what's going on. See how it faded? And then this side, there's like nothing at all. So if we open up a game, which actually I don't think I have anything installed on here. I just signed into my, yeah, there's nothing installed. Okay, no problem. So let's try the next step here. And the other issue that this thing has is when we put it into sleep mode, like so, and then we go to wake it up with the one button click, it doesn't like to work. Now, I have gotten it to wake up once or twice just when I was messing with it when I first got it. But right now, it's no-go. We should hear the chime, so it's just staying in sleep mode. So let's unplug it. I've done a little bit of research, and we're going to go ahead and reset, or like turn it off completely till we see the white flash. There we go. All right. So from what I've researched on this, with us having an audio issue the way we do, and this thing not wanting to wake up, they're kind of the issue kind of falls hand in hand. One is the symptom of the cause. So this thing has, what do we got here? Okay. So the audio board for the Steam Deck and the speakers and the wake up. So apparently one of the things with this Steam Deck is the audio IC is part of the wake up circuit. And that wake up circuit actually goes through the audio IC. So what I want to do is I want to check to make sure that one, our audio board is in good condition, and two, that we don't have any issues with the audio IC. Before we go start yanking things out, I want to look a little closer at our audio board. So let's get under the microscope. Here's the audio board. Now I don't think this has any like ICs or anything on it, but it's got some ribbon cables. As far as I can tell, they seem to be seated okay. Looks all right. Now I have a replacement audio board, just in case that's what it is. I also have some of the audio ICs for the main board. First glance, it looks okay, but obviously that's not always the case. So let's continue to break it down a little further. Let's get this shield off of the main board so we can get the battery unplugged. Last thing we want to do, which I've been known to do, is cause more issues than it started with. Hopefully there's not too much damage on the inside. Let's go ahead and get the battery unplugged. Get this guy out the way. So we don't have any issues with our power circuit or anything like that. So I'm not going to mess around too much on this side of the board. Yeah. Boy, look at this. I think they had a little bit of trouble with that screw. All right. So let's see if we can grip this thing and maybe, yeah, there we go. This is going to be a slow, tedious process. I'll fast forward through this. Okay. Yeah, that one was in pretty rough condition. I don't think we'll be putting that screw back in. Let's take our heatsink out. I think while we're in here, let's get this thermal paste off. Because I don't know about you guys, but anytime there's thermal paste and I'm working near it, it's like some type of electrical charge. It just always seems to end up on me. And let's take a little closer look at the board. And here is our audio chip. And what I want to do now is just kind of probe around this audio chip. It is a BGA chip, so we can't probe directly to the pads, but we can kind of probe around it just to kind of get a feel for what's going on. Now what I also want to do is I want to check the continuity on this ribbon cable here. So this is our speaker connector here. So what I want to do is I want to change over to ohms, and I want to test it to see what the resistance is on these speakers. So both of my speakers are reading 8 ohms. Okay. So that should be good. Let's take a look at our audio board. So the replacement audio board that I have, I believe, is for the OLED. So it's not going to do us any good if that's the issue here. All right, so let's put it in. Let's set the meter back to continuity. Let's check around this chip right here. See if we can see anything. So I think what we're going to do is replace this chip. Because I have several replacements for this guy. So we're going to need to cover up this connector here. Make sure. All right, so let me get this connector covered up and get this thing set up inside of the board holder, and I'll be right back. Now this IC is incredibly tiny. Incredibly tiny. So let's focus on getting it off of the board first and getting it cleaned up. Okay, so our dot here indicates our orientation here. So I couldn't help but notice when I was taping it on, this happened. I was very careful taping and I hardly touched it. So this pad on this side for the anchor is completely gone. Now I'm wondering, could this be our audio issue? and causing that that audio IC perhaps not to see the speakers connected and causing an issue here. I'm not sure about that. But before we go replacing the IC, let's see if this fixes anything by fixing this. That's the old adhesive. So I think what we need to do, once we get this off, we need to attempt to solder this thing back on. And I really want to try, once we get this fixed, to kind of plug it back in to see what type of difference it makes on the audio. And maybe, perhaps, if the audio chip here doesn't get a signal back from both of these, perhaps it can cause it issues when it comes time to wake the system. That part I'm not sure about, but let's see. Let's see what happens. And by a little bit, I mean a massive amount. That's really not that much. It was just hanging off the tip of the flux tube. So the connector is solid, or obviously more solid than when we started. So I'm curious, is that all it was? Maybe. I don't know. Could be. But let's check. Let me put this back together enough to give it a test real quick, and we'll be right back. Okay, so it's back enough together to test, I'm pretty sure. So let's make sure that nothing crazy is going on. It looks okay to me. I've got the M dot back in. we don't have any thermal paste back on our CPU, but we're just going to test. I just want to check the audio as well as the sleep function. Okay, no fan spin. We do have a charging light. Let me double check to make sure that I've got everything reseated correctly, and I'll be right back. I don't think we've nipped that waking issue, but if we can get it to boot, let's see if we can check the speakers to see if the two speakers are working correctly now. It seems like now we have the exact opposite issue. So it sounds like this speaker's working, but this one isn't. Let me see if I can get you where you can hear it. See, we have this one, but then nothing out of this one. However, it doesn't seem to be fading like it was. So let's try the wake. Let's give it a moment, see if it'll wake up. Okay, still the same issue. So this guy does not want to wake up. What I've done is I'm re-imaging my Steam Deck. There we go. So once I got it put back together and charged up, I'm having issues with it booting. I'm having issues with it waking, booting into anything. It's very hit or miss. So what I'm doing right now is I'm completely re-imaging this thing. Hopefully it'll make a difference. So I'm going to leave it as is, and we're going to come back and take a look.
2 hours later.
Okay, and here we are. So we've completely reinstalled our software. All right, we got our install. I hope this works, because I couldn't find anything board level wrong with this guy. No shorts on the board, no hotspots, and nothing like that. Okay. Here is the moment of truth. Let's put it to sleep. Now, will it wake up? That is the question. No. Oh. So it's still not waking from sleep. That's a bummer. May have to reach out to the community on this one. I'm not real sure what's causing that sleep line to stay low like that and not wake back up. Let's try. It's got to be hardware at this point, because software-wise, I've used a different hard SSD, and I've also reinstalled the OS. So at this point, if it was software, that should pretty much be nipped in the bud, I think. So it's got to be something hardware related. But I even went so far as to like look for hotspots, things like that, and nothing. So it's doing pretty much the same thing again here, where you can see the fan kind of move just for a second, and then it stops. Like, it just does not want to initialize. I'm wondering if it's the PMIC. Maybe it's some type of power delivery issue. I mean, it will eventually boot up. That much I know, but it's just so inconsistent. If anybody has any ideas on this particular symptom, I'm going to do some research, but let me know, because I would really like to get this guy fully working. It's nice condition. I've got another one that's in a little worse shape than this. most likely going to end up a donor. But I think this one has the ability to be repaired. I don't think it's so far gone. It just seems to me like it should be working. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have got this thing wrapped up one more time. So what I want to do is first I want to show you what I found. So I couldn't leave it alone. I got to poking around on this thing, doing what research I could. And while messing around, I found, I think this is a resistor. I'm not 100% positive about it, but what I want to do is show you this. See this little teeny tiny guy right here. So if I test here, that should be ground, which we're getting the same reading here. But on this side, it's also a very low reading. And if you see, this guy actually looks like he moved just a little bit. Maybe I'm pushing too hard, but I'm not real happy with those readings. I'm thinking it should read something more like this one. This should be, I'm thinking this is some type of pull down resistor, but I don't think it's the resistor itself. I'm wondering if it's some type of pull down line, because this is from what I could tell, this is kind of like the M92 of the Switch. While it's not the main PDIC, there's a lot of chips that kind of work together for the whole power circuit and how it's distributed on these boards. But what I want to do, because I have some spares, I want to change this guy out just to see if it makes any difference at all. So let's do that, and we're going to see what happens. First thing I want to do is prep our new Max chip. Let's start warming it up. Add a little bit of flux. Now I'm curious to see that now that that chip is removed, if we still have the same readings. Okay, we do. So perhaps that's normal, but we're going to change it out anyway. Okay, so let's see if this thing works or if we actually made it worse. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this for about 5 minutes, and I'll come back and we'll see what's going on with it. We may have to hard reset it. Okay, so here we are. it did boot up, so we didn't kill it. That's a good sign. So let's see what happens here. Sleep mode. Looks like we still have the same exact issue. Well, that is a bummer. Well, that narrows one chip down, I suppose. But I've also been doing a little bit of research, and from what I've seen, like, I don't know how accurate the research is, to be completely honest. There could be a lot of, like, you have to kind of pick and choose. I've went on some forums and things like that, done a little bit of AI research, the norm. But I do know that these daughter boards can also be issues because they are power related. They do have some sleep functionalities on them. What I might do, I have another Steam Deck here, but I don't know if it's the same revision. So it looks like it would work. Thinking what I might do is attempt to maybe replace these daughter boards and see if that makes any difference at all. I might replace this audio board as well, just to kind of see what happens. Can't hurt, right? I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that just while I'm here. So we know it's not dead. Now, I don't know about this battery in this one. It is charging, but let's try it with this guy. Okay, we're fast charging. Let me plug it in with the 100 watt. Now, I did hear the chime, so I'm going to leave it for a few minutes and we'll check on it when I come back. Okay, so this is the new housing. It's a new screen. Well, I say new. It's different. Question is, will it wake? I'm nervous. I don't think it's going to work. I think our issue is going to be on the motherboard itself. But let's do it. Let's put it to sleep. Let's give it a second. Let's wake it up. No chime, no wake. Okay, I'm going to put this thing fully back together for the time being. A little disappointed, but my hopes weren't too high, to be completely honest. I'm going to come back to it. There's something on here, clearly, that's keeping this guy from waking and powering on the way he should. So for right now, we're going to call this a no fix. It's a really weird fault. I really don't feel like I know enough about these systems to diagnose the exact problem. I do have some other replacement ICs and chips for these Steam Decks, but at this point, I would like to be able to actually narrow down the fault. I know the system powers on. It powers on in both of the housings. It seems to be trying a little harder in this new housing. I'm not sure why that would be, but the past few times that I've tried to cycle it, I keep hearing the chime. I wasn't hearing that before. Uh, it could be 1,000 different things, but for right now, until I can get a little further into it, we'll come back to this guy eventually because I definitely think it's worth saving if we can. Um, I've got my own Steam Deck, of course, and I have another board that we're going to work on in a future video. It should be pretty interesting. Not really sure what's going on with it, but we'll take a look at it, find out what's going on. Perhaps we can use, if we can't fix that one, maybe we can use parts off of it to fix this one. Not real sure, but I definitely think it was worth trying, and it's worth trying again. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope to see you again soon in my cave.